Hello guys, this is Reza and welcome to our Python tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to talk about functions. But what are functions and when do we use them? Functions are a way of making your program more organized and neat. You can prevent rewriting some parts of your code using some functions. You can encapsulate some parts of your code inside a function, and just calling the name of that function will execute that part of your code in your whole program. So imagine that you want to do some action in different parts of program and you don't want to repeat the same part of code. The best way is to have a function, and using functions you can write your code once and call it as many times as you like. But how can we define a function? In order to create a function in Python, you have to use the keyword def. And then after that you will write the name of your function. Imagine that we have got a very simple function where we want to just print hello for the user. The name of a function is, for example, say hello. We use the naming convention in Python where we always use lowercase, and when we have compound nouns we use underscore. Then we have got open and close parentheses and then colon. This is a syntax for a function. And then whatever you want your function to do should be written here but indented. It is very important. Everything you want your function to do must be written after this colon but indented. For example, we want to print for the user hello there, and then you want to do something else. You want to print how are you. As you can see, both of these lines are indented, so it means that both of them exist in this function's scope. If you go to the start of the next line, it means that you are outside this function. Now if we run the program, we will see nothing. As you can see here, nothing is printed for the user because we have determined a function but we have never used it. It is like you say, I have a hammer, finished, but you don't use this hammer. You have to go to your closet, take this hammer and try to use it. So functions are like devices. Functions are like machines. They will do something for you, but first of all you have to turn them on. How do we use functions in our program? Let's see. In your main program, maybe you want to first of all print a bunch of equal signs for starting and ending your program, and then inside that you want to execute some code. For example, you want to tell the user hello there, how are you. What do? You will call the function say hello, and that's enough. When you call the function, Python finds it, goes inside the body, executes that, and then ends up. So our program starts from here, prints some equal signs, then calls this function. Inside this function we will print these two sentences, and then we will get out of the function. The next line is printing some equal signs and finish. Let's run the program. As you can see, we have got equals, hello there, how are you, and then equal signs. But this type of function is one of the simplest kinds, where there is no input parameter and it doesn't give you back anything. It just prints something on the screen. Imagine that you know the name of the user and you want to say hello to that user. So here we will pass the name of the user as an input argument, and then we will write, for example, hello and then the name. We will connect this name to this hello. So here we are expecting hello, the name. But if we call this function without any names, it will give you an error. So you have to provide a name to the user. You can provide it here, for example, John, or you can determine a variable, for example, name equals to Alex. And then you can call this name here. Something very important here is that this name shouldn't be exactly the same as this one. It is not important for the program. So you could here write, for example, first name, and then you will say hello with first name. When you call this one with first name, Python comes here and sees that, okay, I am asking for one input parameter and he has given a parameter. I will put that variable inside my local instance, which is name here, and then I will go on continue with this name inside my scope. So here we are waiting for equal signs, then this part just gives a variable some value. Then we enter the hello function. It will print hello Alex, how are you? And then equal signs again. Let's run the program to see the results. As you can see, hello Alex, how are you? You could have even two different arguments, two different input parameters. For example, you could have also age, and then here maybe first name, and as age you will write 25. Here you can say print hello whatever you are plus age. So it should print you are 25. Let's run the program. Hello Alex, you are 25. But what if this 25 was a number like this? As you know, you cannot concatenate the numbers to strings, so you have to change this one to string by using str function, and then you can have everything. As you can see, hello Alex, you are 25. But I said str function. Yes, that's it. These are the functions that we write, but of course there are some pre-built functions inside the Python library, which is here. As you can see, Python 3.8, you can use all the libraries that Python has provided to you. And now you remember that we had some functions in the tutorial. We talked about lists and strings, and we said that there are some pre-built functions inside Python. You could use them. These are the functions that are determined like this. So far we have talked about the functions with no parameter, with two parameters, with one parameter. But what if we have a function that returns a value, does some actions, and gives us back a value? We will determine those functions like this. Imagine that we have got another function. We say def. The function is, for example, add numbers. And maybe we get two numbers, num1 and num2, column, don't forget this column. And what do? We create another variable called c, and we say num1 plus num2. And then what do? We use a keyword named return. And then we return c. What does this function do? It gets two input parameters, adds them, and puts the result in another variable called c, and then returns this c. But how can we use this function? Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, imagine that we want to use that here. For example, number 1 is 25 and number 2 is 30. Then we call add numbers, and then we give number 1 and number 2 as input parameters. But then it returns c, so we will have another variable called, for example, result, and then we put it equal to the return value of this function. Python enters from here, understands that there are two functions, but it doesn't run them because they are not called. Comes here, prints some equal signs, gives 25 to number 1, gives 30 to number 2, computes the result, which is the output of this function, the return of this function. What does this function do? Adds two numbers and return the results. Takes the results and puts it inside this variable. You can call it whatever you like. Then we want to print results. Let's run the program now. As you can see, 55 is returned, which is the summation of these two numbers. You could directly pass two numbers here. For example, 20 and -5. So we are waiting for 15 to be printed here. As you can see, 15 is returned. So we have got different types of functions. Function with input arguments, functions without input arguments or parameters, functions with return types, or functions without return types. In this tutorial, we talked about all different types of functions. They are used in order not to repeat a part of code many times inside your program. So if you have got a part of code that you are sure that you will repeat that in different parts of your program, it is a good idea to write them in functions and just call the function. So instead of writing all the lines of that function, you just call the function. It is only one line of code. But there are also some other benefits behind the functions, and that is to organize your code. It is not a good idea to write all your code inside one function inside the main program and then write all the logic behind your code line by line. It is better to organize your file. Maybe you can put these functions inside different files to make this file smaller, and the reader can read your code, and even you can read your code and debug your code easier. You can put them inside different files and then use those files here. I hope this course has been useful for you. If you have got any questions, please ask me in the comments. If you like this tutorial, please give us thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to encourage us to create more videos. Have fun and don't forget to practice.